What's up, YouTube? How are we doing today? I always do like a weird intro because I don't ever know what to do with my hands. Let's just get right into it. Today I am going to be giving you guys my controller settings. The last time I made a video about this was season 9 or season 10. I don't quite remember which one, but some things have changed, and I know a lot of people come in every day in the stream and ask me, you know, what's your sensitivity, what are your binds, what's your button layout looking like, what are your dead zones. And I just want to answer everything so that every question can have an answer, and maybe someone can improve from this. You know, maybe you can take what I do and implement it into your own gameplay. But this is big. Listen up. Whoever's watching this and potentially going to use what I talk about here, you need to make sure that you are working around things on your own. You can use mine as a little template, as like a little cookie cutter and maybe a place to start. But if you don't feel comfortable on what I'm doing, then don't do it, because what works for me might not work for you, and something else might work better for you than it could ever work for me, right? I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys everything that I do and try it out. If it helps you, awesome. If it doesn't help you, it probably showed you what you don't need, so that's good. But if you do enjoy this video, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel so you can actually see me use these settings in game and farm, and then comment and tell me about like what I maybe helped you with. But yeah, let's get right into it. So I'm even going to go ahead and cover the gameplay tab just to show you guys what I run, because some people run different things. The interact prompt stuff, if you guys don't know what it does, all it does is it takes away a lot of the extra clutter that comes with looking at attachments and different weapons. You can have this on or off. It won't change your gameplay at all. I found that stacking damage numbers work best for me, and I turned off the damage feedback for crosshairs because I don't really like having an X over the center of my crosshair, the target, every time I hit my shots. But that's basically all that does. Everything else is pretty normal. I have auto sprint on. I will talk about that a little bit later, but that might be important as well. Everything else here is pretty simple. I do run this reticle right here, just straight green, 0-255-0. If that does anything for anybody, there's that. Now we're gonna jump straight into the controller tab, because this tab does not really apply to me at all. So my button layout is going to be a little bit different than some people. It's not too crazy, but because I have certain binds for tap strafing, I had to change a few things. So my crouch and my melee are flipped, just like button puncher. That's the same thing. But then my sprint button and my extra character action are both bound to buttons that I don't really use for anything. My toggle zoom I could use, but my sprint button is completely useless because I do have auto sprint on. The extra character action button just kind of goes to waste, but I'll explain a little bit later on why it is the way that it is. So now that we have that, my stick layout is just default. I'm not a southpaw type of guy, even though I am left-handed. I don't run it, so I run default. This is the interacting reload button I have right now. They're apparently bringing something into it with this coming season, so hopefully this setting is the same, but I am recording this the night before season 14, so things might change. But my crouch is on toggle, my aim is on hold. This is for ADS. And then my survival slot button is off, and I will explain that as well in a little bit. My dead zones for my trigger are at default because the scuff controller that I'm using right here it has the special digital triggers, so you don't actually push down on them, right? This is how far I have to push down to click each of them. And with that being, you know, said, I don't really need to mess around with the triggers at all. So that's what that is right now. But we are going to talk about the menu cursor speed real quick. And honestly, I do recommend people raise it over time. I myself should probably work on raising it. But the value that this right here has is that with a higher menu cursor speed, it's going to be easier for you to have quicker armor swaps, right? Let's say you're in a death box. Obviously, depending on the situation, you might need an armor swap very fast. And if that's the case, having a higher menu cursor speed can get your cursor from right here to right there in a matter of milliseconds, right? And every second counts for Apex, and we all know that, especially with the tick rate of the servers. So this is what these are. Now let's get into everybody's favorite part, and that is the sensitivity. I'm gonna say this again because I really want everybody watching this video to understand how serious I'm about this. Take what I have, look at it, try it for yourself, but if you're not comfortable, don't force it. Do not force it, because I've been playing this game for a very long time. I have over 3,000 hours in this game. A lot of people who watch this video are not going to have that many hours in the game, and hopefully you don't, because that means you might not have a life just like me. But jokes aside, I have a lot of experience on this sensitivity, and it's a sensitivity that I've been running for more than half of those 3,000 hours. So I'm very comfortable on it. But if you're not comfortable on it and you don't think that the time that you're gonna have to put in to become comfortable on it is worth it, then don't put that time in. Change it to something that you think will have a rewarding trade-off, because your time is valuable, and changing your sensitivity almost guarantees that for a little bit you're not going to be the best player that you can be. So just really keep everything in mind when I'm going over these things with you, and fine-tune them to what works for you. And as long as you do that, we're good. All right, so let's talk about it. My look sensitivity right now is 5 and my ADS speed is 3. So at the moment, these are the same as what I ran during season 9. I'm very comfortable with the 5 look sensitivity, and a 3 ADS is actually something that I've been thinking about raising. Truthfully, off stream, I've been practicing a lot with 7.4, which is a big change just with the look sensitivity. Not the ADS, but the look itself. It's very different, right? Because the higher you go, the crazier it feels. But right now, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to raise it so that I can have more I don't really know how to describe it, but almost better flicks, if you will. It also helps to have a higher sensitivity if you plan on doing tap strafe blinds, because if you've ever watched a mouse and keyboard player, when they tap strafe, you obviously have to look and wherever you're tap strafing to, and being able to turn to that direction faster is only going to help you. So raising the sensitivity is a goal of mine, but right now we're rocking the 5.3 linear. Linear is something that I'm very comfortable with, but it might not be for everybody. As you can sort of see right here, my camera might be in the way, so I'm actually gonna lower it. But linear is just raw input, right? A lot of people normally run either classic or linear, and I'm a linear type of guy. Classic does give you more of an aim assist type of feel, and for some people that's awesome, but for me, I felt like sometimes it was a little bit overwhelming. And because we're stuck at the 0.4 aim assist value that we are on for PC, I felt like linear sort of, minimized how that felt, right? It doesn't feel very like overwhelming or overpowering. So I'm rocking linear. For per optic settings, I didn't have them on for the longest, but I ended up actually putting them on for everything above a 4x optic. If you don't know, I feel like this is somewhat common knowledge, and I didn't believe it for a long time, but the more that I played, I realized this to be true. But anything above 3x does not actually get aim assist. So the 4x optic, as in like a 4x10 or a 2x4, the 6x, an 8x, and a 10x optic all do not get aim assist, no matter what your value is for your sensitivity. So with that being said, I didn't like having the slow turn speeds that come with the 6, 8, and 10x. So I raised it to 5, and I felt like sniping has felt a lot more like Call of Duty for me. And I came from Call of Duty. I didn't play a lot, but I played enough, and I like sniping in COD, and this is a very, very, very similar feel for me. So I really like it at 5. I'm curious to see what it would feel like if I raised all of these, but right now I'm just doing these 3 at 5. So if we go over now to the look dead zone, I went ahead and raised that to large. Moving the look dead zone to large has sort of minimized the stick drift, although I still do get it sometimes. It's definitely made it a little bit easier, because you don't ever want to just like not move your stick and still have your character like drifting in one direction, if that makes sense. As for movement dead zone, I have it on small. I might have to change it with the new settings I'm running for tap strafing. My inverted look is off. I do play with vibration on. Some people will be like, oh my gosh, you're weird, but that's just who I am. And then as far as my ALCs go, I do not have them. The only time I ever turn them on is when I want to mess around without aim assist. But these are my controller settings right now. If you guys do care at all, I do run on a 110 FOV with all of my video settings just minimized, so I can have the highest FPS and best performance on my PC. And then audio settings won't do anything for your controller, but if you're just curious to see what I run here, these are for you. So with that being said, I've shown you all of my settings, and I've given you my little spill on why I do what I do. I'm gonna go ahead and take you guys into my Steam binds for my controller so I can explain how I tap strafe. And then after that, I'm gonna show you guys one little trick I do in the firing range to help me warm up, and it might help you also improve your recoil control and just feel more comfortable with your guns, and maybe a sensitivity if you're trying it. This might help you actually. So let's get into that. But for this next part of the video, if you are not on PC, I won't be able to help you with setting up tap strafing on PC, but if you are, then I can help you. And this might explain to you why I have auto sprint on and why I do some of the things that I do. But the first thing you're going to do is make sure that your controller is plugged in and that you are allowing Steam input on the controller. If you don't know how to do that, all you do is go properties, controller, and You can do default or enable Steam input, it doesn't really matter. And then once you do that, you're gonna go over here and click on controller layout. So this might look very intimidating at first if this is your first time doing it, but I promise it's not. For me, everything is basically the same except my share button on my controller, on my PlayStation controller, is rerouted to press T on my keyboard now. So I can push on that button, and that is considered my push to talk. So that comes in handy when I talk to my randoms in game. But as far as the tap strafing goes, the only thing I use for that is my left joystick. So you see right here, it says LS click, which means left stick click. And I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. So you want to make sure your click action is set to the click right here. And then you want the mode shift to be on directional pad. So you'll click on that and it'll take you to this, and it'll originally look like this, right? But once you do that, you should click on the drop down and hit directional pad. So I already have mine bound, but you're just going to have it in the traditional WASD and have it set to overlap. I have the region mapped all the way. You definitely want to have it at least to right here, but I have it all the way just because it helps my tap strafing feel a little bit smoother. And what you're going to do is on each click on each of these four regions, I guess. I don't really know what the right word for this is. You're going to want to make sure the repeat rate is all the way. What this means is that while you're pushing down on your left joystick and you're pushing in a direction, it's repeating it. So you want your turbo input on and you want it all the way up, and this just ensures that it's almost like you're inputting it on the keyboard the maximum amount of times that you can. So I have W right here, A to the left because that's what you would use on the keyboard, D to go to the right, and S to go backwards, right? And the setting is the same all the way through. The repeat rate is maxed out, and hold the repeat turbos on for everything. And once you do that, we are good to go with that. There's one more thing I forgot to add. When you are here, you do want to click on the mode shift button and make sure that it says joystick click. If you don't have that, then it will mess you up. But now if everything looks like it just looked for me, then you're good to go. So you would hit done, and let's go back into the game. So now that you've seen my Steam binds, I am going to explain how I would tap strafe. So normally, if you're just going to tap strafe in a 90-degree angle, then you can just look that direction and hold W, or like hold forward, I guess, on your joystick when you press it, because it's going to be constantly inputting the W on your keyboard, and it's just going to give you that little sharp turn, right? So boom, just do that. And as long as you're turning your right stick, you will go wherever you look at. So I'm just going to look over here, boom, just like that, right? Now, a more advanced strafe that you can do is called the ROS strafe. Not the ROSS, not like low-key ROS, but like this, ROS. And this is a pro player who uses this strafe very well. It especially works wonders in bubbles, but you'll honestly see him do it in any sort of close range fight. Basically, all he's going to do is this. I'm just going to use a bubble as an example, but in this bubble, he can now shoot and come out of it. I didn't do the best timing right there, but you get the idea. He shoots and he's out, right? So he's in the bubble, he shoots, and then he's back out. With that strafe, it's possible, right? So what I'm doing is this. As you can see, my momentum is going forward and then backwards. And if you're on a regular controller setup, obviously you're not able to do that. But with this, we are able to do little freaky things like that in the air that we shouldn't be able to do. But if Respawn's going to let us do it on PC, then I'm going to do it. So for this is how I work on recoil control, and I'm going to use the R9 because when I first started doing this, I was really obsessed with the R9 and it was a lot more powerful. And the R9 has a little bit of recoil, nothing crazy, but just enough so that you need to actually work on it. So what I recommend for this is that you get the largest mag you can, and you don't put on any other attachments except for sights if you'd like to get better with a specific sight. Me personally, I really like putting 2x bruisers on any SMG. So we're going to go ahead and rock that. And I'm just going to show you what I do to warm up. So a lot of people don't know this for some reason, but these dummies right here have aim assist on them, right? These targets, not so much. But if you look at these dummies, you can sort of see the aim assist correction as I strafe left and right, and I don't use my right stick at all. It is sort of helping me. Even when I walk away, there's a slight drag. So you don't want that. You want to get comfortable controlling the recoil. And then if you can control the recoil, the aim assist helping you afterwards is just going to be like the little cherry on top, right? So this is what I do. If you ever come over here, you'll see this nice little indentation right here, right? And you can start from about 5 meters out, 5, 6, you know, you can just ping it and sort of see where you are in relativity to your ping and see how far you are. And what you're going to want to do first is get about 5 meters away. I'm 6 because I can't count, but you're just gonna look at this one specifically, and you're not gonna touch your right stick at all. You're just gonna hold your shoot button, ADS, or with your sights aimed down, however you like to say it, and you're gonna study the recoil pattern, right? So what I'm gonna do now that I know what the recoil looks like is very simple. I am going to just practice the recoil pattern, right? All I'm trying to do is keep my crosshair as close to the center of this as I can. And once I feel comfortable from a certain distance, I'm gonna back up a little bit, right? Normally, I actually start from right here. I just put my back to this. I back up until I can, and I know I'm in a good spot. And I just go from here. And all you want to do is just work on keeping your crosshair inside the target. If you're really cracked, or if you feel like you have a really good grasp on recoil control, you can actually do one of these. But this is a little bit more forgiving and still helps you. So this is what I prefer to do. So 2x4 is another really great one to work on, because I feel like a lot of people don't utilize it like they should. And honestly, the 4 times goes crazy if you can control recoil. So this is all I'm just going to keep doing, right? You get the idea. So yeah, that's about it for me and all of my settings. Just to remind you all, we went over my sensitivity, my button layouts, some gameplay settings, a warm-up that I do to get ready for Apex, as well as test new things on different sensitivity. We talked over my Steam binds as well, and I want to talk about one more thing one more time. And I probably sound like a broken record, but it is very, very, very important that players do not take another content creator, another player, another streamer settings and immediately run with them and think they're going to be that player. You need to remind yourself that Rome wasn't built in a day, so you shouldn't get discouraged. But if you do feel like what you are changing to is not going to benefit you in the long run, do not force yourself to do it, because there are so many different sensitivities you can run and try. And when you find that one that is, you know, the one for you, you will know, and it will click, and you'll be frying kids. It'll be 20 bomb, 20 bomb, 20 bomb. Thank you again so much. Thank you. If you did enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like. Subscribe to the channel if you actually want to see some real gameplay. If you guys don't know, I am the 3rd most kills on Wattson on PC. Number 1 for controller, so I'm like the number 1 controller Wattson on PC. And I stream pretty often. I stream about 5 days a week, and it's normally Apex pubs, but you might get a little bit of ranked gameplay. But thank you again so much for watching this video. I hope you guys have a great one and keep grinding. Enjoy season 14. Much love, and I will see you guys out there.